What is good, my peeps? It's the Ruckus back at you again with another action figure review. What we have this time is I'm late to the party. That seems to be my motif these days. Late to the party, late to the party. But finally getting around to reviewing this Amazon exclusive Spider-Man 5-pack villains. I guess it's considered the villains 5-pack. Which is very interesting. You see the cover artwork right there, which is nice. Can't front on that. But we have the Ultimate Spider-Man in the same scene with four of the core 616 Spider-Man's villains. Rogues Gallery there. So, I don't know what the science was behind that, but that's what we have there. So you see what we've got going on there. You got Ultimate Spider-Man, and then starting down there at our lower left around, we'll call it 7 o'clock, we've got Razorback, who isn't really a villain, by the way. Then we've got the Molten Man. Then swinging that right there at around 12 o'clock, we've got the Human Fly. And then rounding it out, we have Silvermane in his robotic body form. Like I said, this artwork is very, very nice, despite the fact that Spider-Man, this isn't the correct Spider-Man, but it is what it is. I guess they came up with something for the 60 Amazing Years, even though it's not that it doesn't have that particular logo on the box. Speaking of that box, this is a very big, tall box right there, and they said, but still small enough that they managed to fit 5 figures in, so that's crazy. So we have, or there on the side, I'm going to have to tilt it. We've got illustrations of all the characters included with this set. Spider-Man, Silvermane, Marvel's Human Fly, Molten Man, and Marvel's Razorback. On the flip side there, we have the same thing. On the top, we have the Spider-Man logo. So moving to the back, we have a whole bunch of readouts on this box, which is crazy because most of our new plastic-free packaging doesn't come with bios, but they are as follows. We'll talk about Spider-Man. Over the years, Spider-Man has clashed with a vast rogues gallery consisting of villains both menacing and bizarre. Then next for Silvermane, the Magia leader and corrupt magnate known as Silvermane has sworn to destroy Spider-Man. Human Fly. Richard Deacon was a small-time criminal before he coerced a geneticist into combining his DNA with that of a fly, giving him superhuman attributes and compound eyes. Then we have Mark Raxton, aka Molten Man. An accident with his own experiment leaves former Oscorp scientist Mark Raxton with metal skin and explosive heat powers. Rounding it off, we've got Razorback. Inspired by tales of costume adventurers on the East Coast, Arkansas trucker Buford Hollis takes up the mantle of Razorback with mixed results. Like I said, he's not really a villain, ergo the quote-unquote mixed results. But it's another character to add. In fact, all of them are, new characters, all of the villains, to add to the collection, even though it's dubious with how we're getting these characters. I'll explain that as we go along. And so we're going to kick this review off. We're going to try to breeze through it quick because we've got 5 figures, so that means we're going to be a little bit extra long, which is relative when you're talking about me, even though you got to give me some credit. I have been managing to condense my reviews into smaller time slots. So anyway, we're going to get that kicked off, but before we do, I need you guys to go down below and like the video. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed, do that for a brother too. So without further ado, we're going to get this kicked off. First up, we have the Human Fly. So as we look at him, getting a 360-degree visual, you can see that my first glance, first thing, he's on the Bucky cap. Remember when I said earlier that the 5-pack, we've got 5 figures, 5 or 4, I should say, new characters, but how we're getting them is kind of dubious. Well, here's one of the reasons why. here we are. We're seeing the infamous Bucky Cap body mold rearing its ugly head again. So it is what it is, you know. That's Hasbro for you. Anyhow, we'll get him off the stand and check him out closer. Along with his harness and wings, Human Fly also comes with a second set of hands, these C gripping hands. Don't know why, but it's an accessory, so I'm not going to knock it. Take a look at the Human Fly. You see that he's essentially molded in yellow plastic and painted with green. You see the green on his torso and both upper and lower, and on the his gloves, from the forearms down, his hands are molded in green, and looking down here below, his feet, or rather from his calves on down, are also they're basically painted in green. And well, no, they're actually molded, I believe. Yeah, they would be molded in green because they're separate, and the shoes as well. Those small feet, that's notoriously known from for Bucky Cap. And the things of note, besides the head sculpt, which we'll look at in a second, are the wings. This is his harness. It's a separate piece. And the wings also separate. You basically squeeze them in, and they articulate up this much, and then you can get 90 with them like that. So that's what time it is with the wings. And as far as his head sculpt is concerned, we have him raging, and of course you already saw that he only comes with an additional set of hands, so no neutral face for the Human Fly here. But what we do have is some nice deco in terms of the paint for the mouth, the teeth, and the tongue. They look pretty good. He's got those bulbous eyes, or numerous eyes like a fly does. So one of Deacon's power sets is that he can see everything in all directions all at once. So it's very, very difficult to sneak up on him. You see that the head is it's molded in yellow, and of course you've got the green that's painted there, and the eyes, of course, painted red, and then you've got the skin color and the teeth and the tongue and all that. So pretty nice looking head sculpt there. As for the rest of Human Fly's power set, I already mentioned that he can see in all directions because of the hundreds of eyes he has, and it's already obvious that he can fly, but he also has super strength. He can stick to walls. His super strength, he's actually stronger, a little bit stronger than Spider-Man. I think in the neighborhood, I want to say 15 tons possibly, as opposed to Spider-Man's 10, but that's irrelevant the way how those are just numbers to give us a baseline. Be that as it may, he's stronger than Spider-Man. We're not going to go through the articulations, the Bucky Cap, but what we'll do just for GP purposes, we'll take a height measurement. So Bucky Cap notwithstanding, Human Fly is standing in at just under 6.5 inches tall. Up next, we have Mark Raxton, aka the Molten Man, and my first glance right here, he's on the Sunfire body mold, and as nice a mold as that is, it's too small for the Molten Man. Molten Man comes in at about 6'6", so he should be on a bigger body. And when we get to Razorback, you'll see he probably should have been on that body maybe, or something a little bit, something like that. Anyhow, also, first things you see, besides being on the Sunfire body mold, you notice the hands with the flames. We saw those before with the Human Torch, and he came with the same exact hands. Only thing different this go round is our boy Mark Raxton, head to toe, is molded in a kind of plasticky looking gold. We'll take a closer look especially at the head sculpt, because the head sculpt is the only other part that has some additional paint. And looking at the head sculpt, I don't know if it translates well on camera, but he does have paint in his eyes, very small slivers of silver to contrast against the gold molding. And that's about it. I mean, the head sculpt is nice. You know, he's gritting his teeth as well. They're painted, well, not painted, they're molded in the same color as the rest of him. But definitely has a pretty nice paint job there, head sculpt, excuse me. And going through his accessories, out of order. Should have done this before we did the head sculpt, but hey, as long as we get it in, he comes with an additional set of hands, these being closed fists with no flame effects on them. He also comes with this that we have seen a million times before, these wraparound effects, molded in a translucent and see-through orange, as you can see there. And finally, he comes with this back flame piece, which we've seen before on the Human Torch. Let's see if I can get its focus a little bit better. There we go. And also molded in a translucent orange, and it'll just fit right there on Rexton's back, like so. And here he is with his flame effects wrapped around his arms. And yep, that's our boy Mark Rexton in full effect, I guess. And just like with the Human Fly, we've been there, done that, so we won't go through the articulation. What we will do, though, is take that height measurement. Rexton's coming in at about 6.5. Next up, we've got Razorback. And first glance, definitely all new character. There have been a few people who have actually been requesting a Razorback shout out to Robo of the Swoosh. I was about to say swoosh. The Swoosh. In fact, he was presented with this figure at this past year's Comic-Con. It was funny. He didn't want to come up, and finally the crowd spurred him on. He went up there, and this was waiting on him. So because he's always talking about Razorback. I believe Robo is from Arkansas, so that's definitely you know what I'm saying. It's his state homie. But anyway, let's get Razorback off of the platter. Looking at Razorback close up. First things first, though, he comes with absolutely zero accessories. What you see is what you get. So now that I got that part out the way, looking at that crazy headdress, you see that it's what it appears to be a boar's head that's draped over Razorback's face, and yeah, it looks pretty amazing there. Turn him up there. It's got the pink snout there. You've got the tusks, the white eyes with the dark pupils. We'll get a closer look at it so you can see what I'm talking about, and then turn it to the side. It's just cool. He's got the namesake of it, the back there, the hair. That's what Razorback boars, pigs, whatever you want to call them, and the fur for the overdress of the shoulders and the chest there. Pretty nice. His body's molded in a green plastic, and he's got his utility belt there molded in yellow, and there is some paint going on there. You can see that there. He's got his wristbands are loose and they're on there. You don't have to worry about losing them because it comes with no pieces. I mean, if you find some yellow hands that actually look big enough to accommodate Razorback, then you could switch him out there. But he comes with no hands of his own, so you shouldn't have to worry about losing those wrist pieces. The legs, of course, molded in that green, and then the boots. You see what it is? They're molded in that. They're molded in that yellow. There are no paint apps to show the distinction between the detail that he has there, and of course you got the shoes there. So yeah, that's what we got going on in terms of the entire body of Razorback. The back, nothing's going on there. He's got all of those pouches would do Deadpool proud, that's for sure. But yeah, that's what we got going on for Razorback. Giving you a closer look at that head sculpt. I mean, this is what it looked like dead on. You tilt him up, you could see his face in there. So pretty nice with the detail of the face. It's this is a crazy head sculpt. As you may imagine, there'll be no articulation in terms of turning that head there. And speaking of articulation, we'll get to that in a second. But first, let's get that measurement going on. To the very top of that razor, he comes in at 8 inches tall. So, I mean, even without it, he's got a nice thick build. But as you guys can see what I'm talking about, I think that the Molten Man should have probably been on this book as well. But I digress. We got what we got. As far as articulation, like I said, you're not going to get much with the head because of that headdress. Most you could get is bare side to side. You're not going to get up nor down. Arms, you can get it to go 90 with the arms. As far as a 360, it'll do that, but it'll bevel out because of that head sculpt. That dress there, he's got swiveling biceps, double jointed pinned elbows. He has a swiveling wrist, and of course they hinge horizontally. That's both sides. He's got an ab crunch. He can go forward very nicely, go back that much, and he's got waist swivel. His legs, he can get out that far. He can get his legs up to near 90, and he can go back just a little bit. He's got the thigh cut. He's got double jointed pinned knees. He's got a boot rotation there. He can point his toe forward that far, up that far. He's got ankle pivot, and of course, you know what time it is, holes, pecos at the bottom of his feet. And now bringing up the rear, as far as our villains are concerned, our bad guys, we have Silvio Manfredi himself, aka Silvermane, the aged Magia boss. A little something about him, the reason he's in a robotic body. For years, and I'm talking about going all the way back to the 60s, he's been trying to beat the final curtain call, if you will, because of how old he is. He's trying to find some way to still survive, and eventually his body finally wore out, and he was brought back utilizing a robot body. And that's what you see before you. As far as what we're seeing before us on the real, from a Hasbro standpoint, we've seen this body before. This is a modified Ultron body. And yeah, so that's basically what we got going on there. There's some changes, like the arms are pinless, and the legs are still pinned, but the way how they look, it is easily hidden. Not to mention, because it's a robot body, it makes sense if you see the pins in there. They just look like connecting joints. Anyway, let's get him off the stand and see what's the what. Silvermane's accessories are, he comes with these trigger finger hands, and the reason for that is because he comes with this particular weapon. I believe we've seen this before. This is molded in a kind of semi-plasticky looking gunmetal gray, as this does. Also gunmetal gray. We've definitely seen this before. I just can't recall where or when, but these are the two weapons that Silvermane comes with. Taking a look at Silvermane's head sculpt, this thing is a work of art. I believe it's definitely different from the head that we were able to use, that we had with Deadpool and his little Go car that came with it. I'll show you guys that in a minute. But looking at this head sculpt, it looks very nice. You can see the age of Silvermane, and you see that he's got the back there is basically cybernetic, as you can tell. But yeah, definitely a pretty nice head sculpt. As far as the rest of him is concerned, you see what it is. He's got the silver body, and there's silver paint on it, because you see it's two-toned right there. And always look pretty nice, as you can see here with the arms. He's got the double jointed pinless elbows. As far as the legs, you see that they're pinned, but like I said, it's not too big a deal considering it's a robotic body. It's that way on both sides. It's got some definitely nice details there, front and back, when you look at him. So that is the robot cyborg Silvio Manfredi, aka Silvermane. Here's our 5-pack Silvermane next to the amalgam Silvermane, meaning the body is of Ultron from an Avengers 3-pack, and the head came on a toy car, and when that came up, it was already purposed for this body. It was more or less put out there to use the head on this particular body. Looking at the heads close up, you can see the similarities and the differences. I think it's the same head sculpt, but I think with the photo reel, it looks more detailed with our 5-pack there. But I could be wrong. I could be just placebo on it, telling myself that. What do you guys think? And the only other thing of note are the elbows. Our 5-pack, you see, has got the pinless double jointed elbows, whereas the old Ultron body had pin elbows. Of course, you see those red additions, or whatever they're supposed, nodules, whatever they're supposed to be, on the we'll call it the Ultron body. And we'll go ahead and take that measurement of our boy Silvio here, and he's coming in at about 6 1/4 inches tall, which is definitely, and this is a repurposed Ultron body, that was definitely small for an Ultron. Anyway, continuing on with articulation, since he does have new arms, we can play that game here. His head is on a ball hinge. He can look up that far. Let me come out a little bit there so we can see it. He can look down that far, pretty good both ways. No real attitude. He can, of course, 360 it. He can get his arms. He can get 90 with the arms. He can rotate them with the shoulders, I should say. He's got the bicep, even though it's robotic, looks kind of strange there. As I stated before, double jointed pinless elbows. He's got the wrist hinge swiveling, and he has rotating, or rather horizontal wrist hinge there. As far as his articulation with the abs, he's got an ab crunch. He can go forward that much. He can go back that much, lean back. He's got the waist swivel. He can do the splits that far out. He can kick his legs way past 90 and go back decent amount. He's got the thigh cut, those double jointed pinned knees. He can point his toe that far forward. Not so much going up. He does have ankle pivot. And even he, with the crazy looking feet, has holes, peg holes at the bottom of his feet. Here's Silvio, aka Silvermane, with his trigger finger hands and brandishing his weapons. So that looks cool. You guys should know that he's going to definitely be replacing the Silvermane Ultron amalgam in my display. I've got Silvermane in a Fearsome Foes of Spider-Man display, Part 1. There's Spider-Man has so many bad guys. He required 2 Detolf spaces. And last, but certainly not least, because this is his 5-pack, we have got Ultimate Spider-Man. And at first glance, no new Buck, an old one, and it's the old teenage Buck, because as you guys may or may not recall, Ultimate Spider-Man Peter Parker was this was basically during the times this particular Peter Parker was still a teenager, and a young one at that. I think he was only like 16 years old at the time. So a few years ago, Hasbro had given us a teenage boy, male Buck, I should say, and we had gotten both Miles Morales and Ultimate Spider-Man on that Buck a few times, and looks like they They dug it out of mothballs to give us this Ultimate Spider-Man. Still curious suggestion for a 5-pack here, because he has no ties to any of the characters that we just went through. But I guess Hasbro wanted to give us a different spin on Spider-Man. Our Ultimate Spider-Man comes out of packaging with fists, and as far as accessories, he has a set of thwipping hands, as well as a pair of wall-crawling hands, all molded in that purplish type of color. And taking a look at our Ultimate Spider-Man on our teenage buck here, you see that he's molded head to toe in a like a really dark purple. And I guess it's supposed to be like he's, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to remember back when Ultimate Spider-Man had this symbiote suit on, if it was supposed to be purple or not. I don't remember at the time. I'd have to look that up. But what we have here, very dark purple, and the only paint we get are the head sculpt with the eyes, of course, makes sense, and the spider emblem, which runs through to the back there. Looks pretty nice. Mine's is very, very clean, so I'm very happy about that, to say the least. But like I said, he's just purple head to toe. That's all you get there with that. And I'll set him back here because we can just go ahead and get that height measurement. Once again, remember, Team Buck, so he's going to come in under 6 feet, and he does. He's at about 5 3/4 inches tall. So there you have it with that. As far as his articulation is concerned, remember, it's the old Buck, so it's not going to be as articulated as we've gotten accustomed with Spider-Man. He can look up pretty far, though. Got to give him that. He's on a ball hinge as far as the head. Looks down pretty far, too. You can get a little bit of tilt there for attitude. He does do the 360 with the head. You can get the shoulder up just slightly over 90, and of course it rotates 360. He's got the bicep swivel, double jointed pinned elbows. He's got the swivel at the wrist and horizontal hinge. He's got, in terms of his ab, he can do an ab crunch that far forward, that far back. He's got the waist rotation, so that's all pretty good, but this is where we get the issues. He can do the splits. It's not bad, but it'd be nice if he could do a Van Damme as a spider figure. He can get his legs up beyond 90. He does have the thigh cut, double jointed pinned knees. He has a boot cut, believe it or not. He can point his toes that far forward, not so far up. He does have ankle pivot, and of course holes, peg holes at the bottom of his feet. Here's our comparison with the original Teen Buck. This is of course the Ultimate Spider-Man. You see the size, they're the same height, and it's the exact same Buck, just the paint apps are different, and they're technically the same guy. So there you have it. So to sum it all up, the Hasbro Marvel Legends Amazon exclusive Spider-Man Supervillain 5-pack, consisting of course, the Ultimate Spider-Man, the Human Fly, Mark Raxton, aka the Molten Man, the man from Arkansas himself, Razorback, and Silvermane Freddy, aka Silvermane, is once again, getting new characters, always a plus. Always a plus, so I'm definitely happy about that. I'm not so happy about the incessant and 100% through and through reuse of old Bucks, like the Bucky cap, for one. You're supposed to be, everybody's kind of like been there, done that with the Bucky cap mold for the Human Fly. As far as Mark Raxton, the Molten Man, once again, I think that he should have been on a bigger body. I mean, just look at him. compared to Silvermane, and you see Razorback back there. He should have been on the Razorback buck, or the buck that Razorback is occupying, I should say. As far as Silvermane, it's just an Ultron reuse and retooling. But it is an update. I guess I can go ahead and put the original Ultron head back on that body that we showed earlier in the video. And then, of course, we've got Spider-Man himself. Ultimate Spider-Man is on the Teenage Buck, which is serviceable in terms of the articulation, but it would have been nice if we got some type of updated Teenage Spider-based Buck. But that's kind of like asking a lot, because there's not that many teenage characters that require that type of articulation. You've got Ultimate Spidey, you've got Miles. Basically, that's about it in terms of agile teenage characters. So I guess it is what it is. Anyhow, I am happy to have all new characters, so that's cool. Get to check off some more on the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery. It was still a curious, just a curious box set with Ultimate Spider-Man and 4 villains that he has 0 to do with. But hey, I don't know about you guys, but I'll take it. Anyway, what else I'll take is you guys liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And, of course, leaving comments below is always a nice thing, too. Questions, concerns, critiques, whatever, have at it. And if you want to be notified for the next time I upload another video, hit that bell and notified you shall be. Once again, we've got the Marvel Legends Amazon exclusive Spider-Man Supervillain 5-pack featuring the Human Fly, Mark Raxton, the Molten Man, Razorback, and Silvermane, not to mention Ultimate Spider-Man in his symbiote suit. On behalf of that and myself, the Ruckus, I'll leave you with this. Remember, the hunt continues, and I'm out. Peace.